Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Ariel Tienko.
And we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, happy hour-worthy podcast. Today is Tuesday, April 12th, 2022.
Yeah, I guess where you're sitting, Ariel, it's happy hour.
Yeah. Well, I actually just said that because my story today happens to be about monkeys and booze.
Oh, that's true too.
Don't think I'll be participating in happy hour. I've got too much packing to do because tomorrow I'm headed to Canada.
Ooh, going back to see the fam for a good vacation, huh?
Yeah, just for a working vacation. I'm not going to abandon the Optimist Daily. But yeah, it'll be good to see the family.
Well, speaking of happy hour, why don't you start today's podcast?
Sounds good. So my headline reads, Monkeys' taste for booze helps explain humans' alcohol affinity. So as a species, we have a pretty long societal and evolutionary history with alcohol.
Well, by the way, I think it's not just alcohol that we like. We like lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah. We have a long history of inebriation, mind-altering substances, you could say. And studies have shown that alcohol metabolizing systems appeared in our primate ancestors way before humans even existed. So that's between 7 and 21 million years ago. However, researchers from California State University released a new study on this fascinating topic that supports the quote-unquote drunken monkey hypothesis. Based on what was on the Wikipedia page, the drunken monkey hypothesis was originally proposed by Dr. Robert Dudley of the University of California at Berkeley, and it talks about how the human attraction to ethanol may derive from the dependence of primate ancestors of Homo sapiens on ripe and fermenting fruit as a dominant food source. And ethanol is something that naturally occurs in ripe and overripe fruit when yeasts ferment the sugars, and then consequently early primates and many other fruit-eating animals have evolved to be attracted to ethanol in food. The current study focuses on the behavior of black-handed spider monkeys in Panama, and it studies the properties of discarded eaten fruit of these primates. The alcohol concentration of the fruit was between 1% to 2% by volume in this food, and that was created as a natural byproduct of fermenting yeast. And you know all about fermentation, one of your favorite topics, Kristy.
Yes, it is one of my favorite topics.
To prove that the monkeys were processing the ethanol rather than just letting it pass through their bodies untouched, the team had to take urine samples that then revealed the metabolites of alcohol in the urine, meaning the broken down versions of alcohol molecules. So consuming fruit with higher levels of alcohol means a higher number of calories ingested, and that means more energy obtained. So the scientists have also suggested that there could be an antimicrobial benefit to this diet, and the pre-digested nature of the food, since it's already kind of broken down, could have a perk in saving energy during digestion.
So it's almost like the fermented fruit is in more available in terms of its caloric content, and there is some evolutionary advantage. It gives them more energy, it gives them more power. Do they actually get drunk though, or is there enough alcohol in this fruit to really make them drunk?
I don't think so. From the study, it said that it was only 1% to 2%.
De-alcoholized kombucha.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it says in the article that some species of primates have been shown to consume fruit with an alcohol content of up to 8%. So I guess that's like a strong beer. The scientists also said that those animals were probably not getting drunk, or if they were getting drunk, then they'd have to like really eat a lot of this fruit to feel intoxicated. But in any case, this study allows the contemplation of the role of alcohol in primate diets, and that could explain why we humans enjoy alcohol. Sometimes we might overindulge, but there is an actual evolutionary disposition toward alcohol. And this information might lead to scientists figuring out maybe better alcoholism treatments. So, yeah. Do you like to have the casual drink once in a while, Kristy?
I certainly do. Yeah, I enjoy a glass of wine or a beer now and again.
Mhm.
Sometimes I like a nice sour beer I like the soury
Oh,
flavors
nice.
as opposed to the really hoppy ones.
Oh, really? I'm more of a hoppy beer myself, but I can't even have beer now that I've developed a gluten intolerance like so many others.
Yeah, because I also am not very good with gluten. So, but wine is good,
I'm all about the wine.
I think this is fascinating. I just recently enjoyed listening to a short little book by Michael Pollan about caffeine
Mm.
and how it is actually this sort of psychoactive substance that so many humans use. It's the most popular
Hmm.
substance that is used, mind altering drug that we all use.
Yeah, certainly the most normalized.
But it's so addictive that even bees will prefer to go to flowers that have caffeine in them.
Oh, really?
It doesn't give them as much nutrition, but they like the caffeine as much that they'll go to those flowers more. So there's this evolutionary symbiosis that grows between
Oh,
those kinds
wow.
of flowers and the bees that will then pollinate, and then they'll do more pollination in service of those plants than they would otherwise do. So I'm wondering, yes, this explains why we, as fellow primates, clearly there's some evolutionary advantage for consuming alcohol. That's
Hmm.
what it seems like this article is saying. But I wonder if there's not also some evolutionary advantage for the fruits that will then be consumed more readily by these primates. We are often so anthrocentric in terms of how we look at the world.
Hmm.
And if you flip that and you look at it from the plant's point of view sometimes, and you see how clever plants are in getting us to not only eat them, but then plant them all over the place or protect them. Maybe there's this evolutionary advantage of these fruiting plants.
Yeah, yeah. I have a gardener friend who says that plants have actually trained us humans to.
We are in service to the corn, which is like taking over the planet, right? And the animals
Yeah,
that have
exactly.
attached themselves to humanity are outrageously successful as far as their genetic materials go in terms of taking over the planet.
Hmm.
Speaking of looking at things from a different perspective, my headline. Are we ready to go to the next headline?
Yeah, yeah. Go for it.
So my headline reads, Miniscule Bacterial Machines May Be the Future of Medicine. And before I get into the article, I just like the idea of using biology to build things which are organic and living. So living organisms which serve as tools in promoting health or curing different diseases, right? And we write a lot about how microorganisms can become almost like machines. Although I don't know if the metaphor of machine is really the most apt one. We like to think about things in terms of machines, but
Mm.
really I think it's more of a symbiosis. And if you look at manipulating biology for specific ends and how can it not necessarily work as a machine, but rather
Work in harmony.
work in harmony or affect change. It takes it from a two-dimensional to a three-dimensional kind of interactive process.
Hmm.
But we write about this on the Optimist Daily partly because I am very enamored with synthetic biology, which is the broader idea of what this kind of thing is called. We've written, for example, about the CRISPR Cas9, which is a protein naturally occurring in organisms called bacteriophages. And this is the organism that was used to create the CRISPR process, which we've also written about. But it's a naturally occurring in bacteriophages that they use it to cut and insert their own DNA into the host cells that they, quotes, infect. But scientists, Jennifer Nunzo, I think is her name, they won the Nobel
Hmm.
Prize in Medicine a few years ago for their invention of using CRISPR as a tool in medicine to tweak our biology and to be able to repair disordered genetic patterns in different people. And it's having the potential to treat rare genetic diseases like sickle cell anemia. It might have the ability to work with people who have severe obesity and other systems which can use some help. So anyway, there's a group from McGill University that are interested in applying the same type of approach to a different group of proteins called non-ribosomal peptide synthetases. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Non-ribosomal peptide synthetases, otherwise known as NRPSs, kind of like the rodents of unusual size. These are tiny microbes that chemically kill off surrounding organisms using a number of different enzymes. Microbes like bacteria and fungi that have these NRPS machines embedded in them are responsible for making molecules that act like important drugs or therapeutics in different instances. That's sort of a paraphrasing of what Camille Fortinez, who's the lead author of the paper, is quoted as saying. But the team has had the insight that perhaps these minuscule machines could be manipulated to produce useful drugs for humans, kind of like with mRNA, where you just give the little blueprint to the body and then it knows what to look for, and you have the vaccination against a virus. Perhaps this could be something that gets injected into the body and that it ends up producing a useful drugs. If they can do it for bacteria, they can probably synthesize numerous medicines for us, including immunosuppressants and perhaps even antibiotics. Anyway, I find this fascinating, the opening up of how biology really works. I feel like it's the frontier of medicine. It's the frontier of not just medicine, but perhaps material science and other types of building technologies that we haven't even really conceptualized yet. But if scientists can learn how to harness the power of these little microbiome machines, then medicine could perhaps be produced at a lower cost with higher efficiency, kind of like how they're creating synthetic meat in the lab using yeast and fermentation. This is another example of how taking inspiration from the natural world as a solution, it might transform and revolutionize how we create things like medicine.
Yeah, this could be really useful as well in the future because, I was listening to a podcast earlier that was talking about how the reason why humans don't get a lot of fungal diseases is because our natural human body temperature, which is sitting at 98-ish degrees Fahrenheit, is just insufferable for fungus or for fungi. But I think in a lot of developed countries, our body temperature is actually decreasing because our bodies don't have to work so hard to be healthy. And fungus in general is slowly, because the world is heating up, slowly becoming more and more resistant to higher temperatures, which could leave us in a pickle existentially. So hopefully these bacterial machines will be ready to fight off new diseases or new viruses soon.
Absolutely. Well, and that's even, there's a reason that you get a fever. The fever is partly to raise the body temperature to try to kill off what it can.
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the reasons that your body gets hot when it's sick.
Fascinating stories today about bodies and what we like and what we don't like.
Bodies and booze. I like it. So other stories on today's headlines include this hydrogel helps stop cancer regrowth post-surgery. Last month, the UK saw more EV sales than ever before. A rare Sumatran rhino birth brings new hope for the endangered species. 6 ways to pack more leafy greens into your diet. What else, Ariel?
Well, astronomers spot the beginnings of a quote-unquote baby gas giant. Wonder what that's all about. How to make courageous behavior a part of your life. New treatment helps alopecia patients regrow their hair. So I suppose alopecia awareness is up since Will Smith's performance
Absolutely.
at the Oscars. And a treasure trove of dinosaur fossils discovered in Chile. All of that and more is available on theoptimistdaily.com. We promise to continue to share positive, solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We will also continue covering the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
And if you haven't already done so, please consider becoming an emissary at theoptimistdaily.com. And for starting at just $5 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism. And if you don't have the means to sign up as a paying contributing member, you can also support us for free by sharing us on your social media, forwarding stories to friends, leave us a positive review on our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. The more people we touch, the more people are focused on solutions. And then you can help be part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with that problem-solving mindset. And help us keep the Optimist Daily free for all who need it, supported by those of us who can. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more solutions.
Bye.